This is what a successful politician in 2021 looks like. Yes, I am running for the mayor of London. My name is Count Binface, and to introduce myself, you may know of me from my previous moniker. I didn't used to be called Monica, no. I used to be called Lord Buckethead.
What's your policy on free speech?
Well, I wouldn't charge for it, for a start.
I'm for the bucket. I think it holds more water, and he's Brian's biggest competitor right now. It's a narcissist versus a literal bucket.
So you want me to beat Brian Rose? That's what you want?
Oh yeah, that's like the first priority.
Yeah, I mean, I'd love to beat Brian, electorally, not physically. I've seen it.
Yes.
He loves a bit of shadow boxing, and I'm not looking for any fisticuffs, because I'll just shoot him with a laser if it came to that. But no, look, I like standing for election partly because it's a celebration of democracy. I think that democracy is the single greatest political invention in the entire galaxy.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to a much expected, awaited interview of my official endorsement for Mayor of London. Ladies and gentlemen, without further ado, Count Binface. He's joining us from Mars right now. Thank you.
Well, thank you very much, Coffeezilla, and to all your wonderful fans, viewers, listeners, however they choose to imbibe me sensually. Lovely to be here.
Now, should I call you Count? How do I address you here?
Yeah, Count's fine. Your Excellency, whatever.
Your Excellency, I much prefer. Your Excellency. Okay. Now, tell the people who don't know. Most people, they see you and they think, man, either this guy's the greatest political candidate of all time, or I think there may be some game going on here. I don't treat you as a game or a joke at all. Tell people just how serious you are about running for mayor. And also tell them why you're such a better candidate.
Well, for a start, you can't look more serious than this. If you think I'm not serious, then I would quote the great John McEnroe and say, you can't be serious. This is what a successful politician in 2021 looks like. Yes, I am running for the mayor of London. My name is Count Binface, and to introduce myself, you may know of me from my previous moniker. I didn't used to be called Monica, no. I used to be called Lord Buckethead. And I ran against Theresa May, the then Prime Minister of the United Kingdom, in Earth Year 2017. And it was a lot of fun. And I went viral in a non-COVID kind of way, the good way, around your planet.
It used to be cool to be viral, yeah.
Yeah, exactly. I went on John Oliver's show, spoke at the Glastonbury Festival, all sorts of lovely stuff. And then some American film producer, an American film producer took control of my Twitter account after I got famous.
No.
I wanted to have that title for himself, so I've upgraded after my unfortunate battle on the planet copyright, and I'm back. I'm Binface. And I'm ready to be mayor.
It's a tough time when they take you from Buckethead to Binface, but I'm glad to see you've rolled with the punches. So now, obviously that's a very serious issue, but I want to talk to you about where you're from, because obviously this is an important issue for any London candidate. We have people like Brian Rose. He's an American running for mayor of London. I always thought that was a bit strange, but you're from Mars. Going for London? Yeah. Do I have my facts right here?
Well, your facts about Brian Rose are right. I believe he is an American trying to be the mayor of London. And to me, that's just crazy.
Correct.
Don't you think? That's just madness. With me, no. I'm compared to him, I'm pretty much, a local boy. But I'm not from Mars. No, I am from the Sigma Quadrant. But the fact is that I've come to your planet to run for mayor, and yet the intergalactic advice is to remain at all times at least one planet away from Earth while the pandemic's going on. So I'm just taking precautions.
I see. You're planetary distancing from us.
That's it.
Just
Exactly
to make
right.
sure these guys figure it out. But you do want to help us out. I appreciate it. I mean, I really do. Let me ask you, it's not just Brian Rose. You're also up against Sadiq Khan. You're up against Sean Bailey. And I know you guys are shocked that I know all these names, but I'm interested in UK politics this year. This is the year that Coffeezilla becomes a UK politician fan. And I've chosen very carefully. But you're also up against a YouTuber named Nico. Have you heard of this guy? He's like...
Well, hang on. Can I just stop you there? You mentioned, we just roll back a second. You mentioned some of these candidates. You mentioned someone called Sean Bailey.
I think so. Is
Who's
that
that?
right? I thought he's the conservative whatever.
Is he? No, literally nobody knows. Honestly, no one knows who their candidate is. It could be him, but whoever it is. He's running such a terrible campaign that nobody can remember his name at all. Which is why I asked you. So,
I'm the only one.
me.
That's shocking. An American barely covering the election. I'm the only one that remembers.
Yeah. What's it again?
It's Sean Bailey, I think.
That's it.
Now you're making me forget.
It goes in one side of the bin and straight out the other. I mean, it's crazy. But anyway, well, thanks for that. That was handy. I mean, yeah, I know there's a couple of YouTube guys running. I think that their idea is to use the election to, generate hits for their own,
right? They're not
YouTube
serious
platforms. I mean, that's fine. That's part of democracy, I suppose. But my concern is that that's what's going to happen more and more in all your countries. That the entirety of politics could be run by 20-somethings claiming that they're trying to prank the news when they're possibly doing no such thing.
I think it's such a shame when people treat the election like a joke. And that's
exactly. I mean, who would do a thing like that?
Yeah, it's true. That's very
exactly.
true. So sorry, is your bin getting a little full, a little stuffy over there?
It's full of politics. It's absolutely brimming full of ideas.
Okay, so speaking of ideas, I want to tell the people, you're not a guy with no ideas. Like Brian Rose, he's like, hey, what are you for? Science. And that's all he can tell you. He doesn't know anything. No, you have some real specific ideas. Now, I was really drawn to your croissant idea. I said, this is a big idea. Can you tell the people what you want the croissant law to be? Just so they know what they're getting with you.
Of course. Well, just to go back to Brian, to be fair to the guy, I mean, there's a lot of things which are quirky about your mate Brian Rose.
Yeah.
But one thing I will say is, in the United Kingdom, for an American to say he is pro-science is not taken for granted. So actually, given your former president, for Brian to say that is a pretty big deal, because some Americans, don't believe in science. And that's up to them, if they want to believe what they want to believe. But I'm pleased that Brian at least accepts things like the law of gravity and things like that. Because
I don't think
I get the impression
it.
that some of the candidates, like Piers Corbyn, he's probably not too sure about that kind of thing. 5G conspiracies, anti-vax conspiracies.
Oh no, Brian did all that. Brian did had David Icke on. He was fraternizing with all those ideas.
Oh, of course he was.
Thing.
So there you go. Well, that's strange that Brian would say he's pro-science and yet talk to David.
Politicians use every good idea like a cudgel to beat their little constituents over the head with. Is science the word of the day? I'll be pro-science. Yeah. And in reality, they're not. But get me back to, you've derailed my whole croissant plan here, or your croissant plan. Tell the people what it is.
It's my croissant plan, mate.
Sorry.
No, not. But,
I got carried away.
Yeah, if you want me to elaborate, I will. Now, I mean, let's go back to basics. A croissant is a small, pastry-based, butter-filled, bready snack. Mm-hmm. Okay, everyone's happy with that. It emanated from the great country of France, but like a pandemic, it has swept across the globe. And thanks to me, hopefully my quadrant will soon be picking up some exports. But, and this is the big but, in recent times, in good old London town, the price of a single croissant has skyrocketed faster than the property prices. You've gone from 50p to a single item to like, you're talking £1.50, £2, £2.50 in some places.
It's a tragedy.
It's madness. And I'm telling you, Coffeezilla, I mean, your name's Coffee. You must know about snacks at breakfast. This has got to stop. And I am an egalitarian bin. And I say on day one, I would lobby for all outlets and shops and anything, anywhere that wants to sell a croissant. Come on, guys, make it a quid.
That's it. No more than a quid, guys. That's the new thing. So no shop is allowed to sell a croissant for more than 1 quid. There's something bold to that. I really enjoy that because it is true. These shopkeepers, they're getting cocky.
They are. And the thing is, what you can't, that's still a pretty bloody decent markup, isn't it? A quid? You can't tell me that they cost a quid to make. I'm not buying that at all. I literally would not buy that. So, all I'm saying is give the customers, they're on their way to work. London transport is a bit of a nightmare anyway. And that's without Crossrail being built, and we can come on to that. All I'm saying is give something back to the great British Londoner.
Okay, I like that bold idea, and that's exactly the kind of bold idea that I support, which is why I'm endorsing you for Mayor of London. So I expect all the Coffeezilla army to go out, vote for not me. Don't vote because I told you to. Vote for Binface for yourself. Do yourself a favor. Do yourself and your croissant little stomach a favor, and go vote for Count Binface because you're the only politician I've ever seen address these critical issues. Now, other critical issues that I want to talk to you about is your radical approach to punishment related to some of these ideas. Now, you want to ban speakerphones on public transport. Now, most people would say, okay, I'm going to, if you break this law, by the way, I agree. Speakerphones on public transport, get some AirPods, guys. But if you do break that, tell them what happens. It's not what they think.
Well, I mean, it's up to your fans and your good self to say what you think the punishment should be for somebody being antisocial and using speakerphone on public transport. But my philosophy is a simple one, that you need to have the carrot on the one hand and the stick on the other. Now, that means, yes, I'm prepared to offer commuters the £1 croissants. That's on the table. I'm offering that. That is there. That's a promise.
Yes.
But, I'd be lying if I said there weren't strings attached.
Yeah.
And my number one string is, please don't be a dick on public transport. And if you do, I've got a simple philosophy. I'm not into tasers. I'm more of a lasers kind of guy. And I'm not into what Americans do, which is shooting innocent people. I try not to do
Hey, watch
that
out.
kind of
There's
thing.
a lot of Americans watching this right now. Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah. I think that's a bit much. So instead, I have a third way.
Yes.
And it's simple. I say any offender caught using speakerphone must be forced to watch the movie version of Cats every day for a year. And that will stop them. I guarantee it.
I think some people would rather be shot. I mean, quite frankly. But I do I admire the radicalness of this plan. I don't think any politician has been willing to approach such radical punishment ideas. Now, do you feel like it is a pretty steep punishment, but maybe the punishment fits the crime? I don't know.
Well, I mean, this is the thing. My policy, rather like everything in your universe, is, as Einstein put it, relative. So, if you say, being made to watch the movie of Cats every day for a year sounds pretty steep. Well, yeah, that is steep compared to not having to watch it every day for a year.
Correct.
But it's pretty lenient compared to making them watch it every day for 100 years, which I could have said. So, what a politician's got to do is everything is about moderation. It's about finding the mainstream. It's about finding and charting a middle course. And all I'm doing here is sitting here, chatting to you, having a very sober discussion about politics and about the sensible way forwards to ensure a reduction in antisocial behavior. This couldn't be more sane.
I agree, but is this a typical galactic style punishment? I mean, I feel like when we think about earthly punishments, we think about, very straightforward things. Are we a little primitive? Have we not gone far enough to get creative with the way that we incentivize behaviors?
Well, I mean, yes, you are primitive. Yeah, and you say you haven't gone far enough. You guys are stuck on your bloody planet. So, I mean, you don't get much more primitive than that.
Yeah.
You sent a couple of guys up to the moon, and you've sent a bloody drone up here to Mars, which is really pissing me off. I honestly, you got to get a license for these things. I mean, you guys, you really take liberties. But yeah, you are primitive, and that's why you deserve primitive punishment. So I'd be lying if I said that I had forced anyone else in the universe to watch the movie version of Cats as a punishment or otherwise. That would be not true. No, I can guarantee you no other being in the entire multiverse has seen the movie Cats. It's just you guys. It's your problem. You created it, and therefore all I'm doing is serving it back up to you.
It's true. I can't argue with that. Listen. So we have so much to talk about. So we got to move on from each of these things because you've got other big policies. And my point in doing this is that when I first announced that I would be endorsing you as the mayoral candidate of London, I couldn't believe it, but people actually did think I was joking. And I said, no, are you joking? This guy's a serious candidate. They said, come on, Stephen, Count Binface. And I said, no, it's real, man. He used to be Lord Buckethead. Now he's Count Binface. You got to take a second look. So one of my things here is I really want to present your fresh ideas to people. Now, another of your fresh ideas is that loud snacks to be banned from theaters. Hey, I, for one, can endorse this, but my question is, what counts as a loud snack?
Well, firstly, thank you for endorsing my policy. I mean, this one's just a no-brainer.
Absolutely no-brainer.
Incidentally, what does the B stand for? The B on your coffee cup. What does that stand for?
Oh, it's supposed to be a coffee break, CB.
Oh, I see.
It's
clever.
my old channel.
Because you see, CB is what we're doing here.
Wow. Yeah, in a way, it's kind of an endorsement here, Count Binface.
It's kind of an endorsement.
Yes.
I mean, there are certain Americans who'd see that and they'd try and do you for copyright just using the old initials there. But no, I'm not going to do that. I love it. Free advertising. You go ahead. Have your Binface mug. Lovely. So look, let's get back to theaters. The thing is, mate, it's got to stop. When you say what counts as a loud snack, the question is, can you hear them eating? If the answer is yes, it's too bloody loud. That's what I'm talking about here. Now, some people might say this is, a little bit over the top. I mean, what I should say is, and there's a semantic issue here between the UK and America, because you guys use the word theater to represent both, going to take in a show and cinemas, where you go a movie theater.
That's true.
Now, I'm not doing the cinemas here. I'm starting this slow. Again, I'm moderate. I'm reasonable. Yes, I have a bin for a head, but I'm not stupid. Well, I'm not completely stupid. So I'm talking about the theatrical places, what you would call it a playhouse, maybe. So it's where people have spent loads of money to go and see people performing live, and you go in, and there's someone to your left, to your right, or behind you, scoffing their faces with crisps and boiled sweets and the like. And it makes me think, firstly, what's your problem? And secondly, Why can't you find a quiet snack, like a little a soft bap, something like that? And thirdly, why can't you eat before the show? I mean, you knew you were going to go and see the show, and you know that the show is about watching something. Why don't you eat before you go in? I don't look. You're the human here. What's going on?
I'll tell you what's going on. Listen, I'll be honest. At theaters, I love a good snack, but I'm talking about the movie theaters. But right. I've gone to plays before, and I find it absolutely deplorable to people who eat at theaters because the plays, stuff like that, it is hard to hear. They don't have these crazy sound systems. If you go to like Star Wars, the latest Star Wars cinema, as you guys call it, which is I think's weird. But if you go to that, you're going to be blown out no matter what you're eating. I mean, you're not going to hear anybody eating because it's so loud, speakers. But at plays and stuff, you can barely hear them. Somebody's crunching, some chips next to you. It's a disaster. So I agree with you, but I agree with you. There you go. But on the other hand, you don't have a punishment for this one. And part of me thinks, did Your Excellency forget to include a punishment? And could we right now spin up a punishment for the violators of this crime?
Well, I mean, I didn't come up with a punishment because I was trying to be reasonable. Again, this is me. I honestly can't believe I'm saying this, but compared to the other 19 candidates, you're talking to the sane one.
Right.
And I've come over here from the Sigma Quadrant, and if I say to you guys, come on, let's not have the snacks when you're going to see a play, that should be it, right? That you shouldn't need an intergalactic space warrior to threaten you with, a battle army armed with lasers, or, a James Corden movie featuring horrendously animated cats. You shouldn't need me to do that.
Yeah, but
it should be simple. It's like, if I say, don't slap the next person you see across the street in the face, you shouldn't need me to say, because if you do, I'll arrest you. You're just not going to do it.
But that's the human condition. You tell us don't slap the next person. I guarantee you about 5 people that are watching this right now are going to go do that. Not because they were going to do it, because you told them not to do it. And
well, whose problem's that?
Well, it's the person getting slapped. That's whose problem it is. We'll put a pin in that. We'll put a pin in the punishment. We'll have to update that, because I'm telling you, you can't just tell people anything. You've always got to incentivize them with a carrot and a stick.
Hang on. If you want, I'm quite happy, Coffeezilla. I am quite happy on your program, your YouTube program, whatever this is. I don't know what you want to call it. A transmission, whatever it is.
Yes.
I'll give you an exclusive.
Go ahead.
Okay. Right here, right now. Mm-hmm. If I was to catch anyone in a Binface mayoralty eating a loud snack during a play, I'd make them watch the movie version of Cats for 2 years. How about that?
Wow. You're a fair but firm leader, Count Binface. I do have to say that. Now, okay.
My slogan used to be strong, but not entirely stable. That's what I'm giving you.
Right. Thank you. That's a good Coffeezilla exclusive. Now, we have people like Brian Rose saying they're fans of free speech, but then copywriting all my videos that are talking about anything related to him, or, really anytime I talk about a mayoral candidate, he always copyrights it. How do you feel about free speech? Are you better than that? And after this, we got to talk about Sadiq Khan, but I imagine Sadiq doesn't strike me as the free speech guy either.
Well, they're two very different people, yes. Brian and Sadiq. So let's deal with them in turn. Brian was now. Let's just drill down into this one. Let's rummage through the bin that is Brian's mayoral campaign. Now, look, you mentioned copyright. Now, I have a little teeny weeny experience of copyright on your planet.
Yes.
You can't tell me that you talking about Brian is a breach of copyright. It isn't.
Right.
So how on earth is he able to strike a claim against you?
He just tells YouTube that it's his content.
What, and they listen to him?
Yeah. Yeah,
Well,
no, that actually, it's real. I can't. Yeah. Yeah, absolutely.
What? So he could do that with this broadcast now.
Yeah, we're not going to show any images of Brian or anything like that. But I'll give you an example. So I played somebody else's reporting of Brian Rose with this guy, this great interviewer on Mail Plus, and I played that broadcast. So Brian didn't own it. He said he owned it and copyright claimed it anyways. So these are things that he doesn't even own. He'll just copyright it.
But can't you just say to YouTube that's wrong?
Yeah, but then it takes like 15, 14 days to come back up, and at which point the video's already dead.
What do you mean it's already dead? You mean it's lost its
it's been blocked for 14
cache.
days. Yeah, it kind of lost its it's 14 days news old. Like it's a lot of news is topical.
Right. Well, let's get into let's have a little chat about this. Is one of my problems with your news cycle that everything is so bloody instantaneous, and
Correct.
everything has to be up now and now and now, and videos keep going. I mean, I saw a thing. You managed to do 100 videos in 100 days, which is amazing. But it's that sense that there's so much content going up. I would reassure you that if your video goes back up eventually, and remember, this election's going to be gone in like a week or so's time from the time we're chatting to each other. So,
Correct.
The history of Brian Rose will outlive the actual election itself by many, many millennia. Well, until the asteroid comes and gets you. Sorry about that, but nothing I can. Well, I could do something about it, but I'm not going to. That's your problem. But until that day, Brian will have to live with you and other journalists, trenchantly examining what he says and whether they are true or whether they are porky pies. But I would be relaxed about it. I really would. If he wants to go along and say to YouTube, "Oh no, you can't use that. That's mine," well, he'll get found out in the end.
I think he will too. But my question to you is, what's your policy on free speech? Are you about it? Or are you like, what's the galactic policy on free speech?
Well, I wouldn't charge for it for a start. I think free speech should be free. And, that's one of the reasons why I stand for election, Coffeezilla.
Yeah.
Or Cough. Should I call you Cough? I don't really know what the shortened version is.
Fine.
Cough. So this is the way I see it. That I like standing for election partly because it's a celebration of democracy. I think that democracy is the single greatest political invention in the entire galaxy.
Wow.
I can guarantee you.
Were we the first ones to invent it?
You what?
Were we the first ones to invent the democracy?
No, I did, but don't worry about that. The ancient Greeks caught up with me eventually. But
got it.
But the point is, it's an incredible invention. And you guys in certain countries are still using it. And it's under attack. I think that's terrible. It needs defending. It needs celebrating. And one of the things that's wonderful about British democracy is that in the year 2021, you can stand for an election to be the mayor of the Earth capital, even if you wear a bin on your head. And I think that's fantastic. Of course, you have to pay £10,000 for the entry fee, which you could argue that's not exactly helping free speech. But, thanks to a bunch of lovely earthlings, I managed to cobble the cash together, and here I am. So free speech is very much my thing, and I say I'm all for it.
That's a wonderful answer. You're going to get a lot of votes for that one. A lot of votes are coming to you from that one. I figure now, how much are we behind? And I say we because I'm just injecting myself into your campaign. But
like
how
bleach?
much?
Bleach into the army, injecting me to.
I'm joining the army. How much do we need to bring forward? Number one, to beat Brian Rose. That's my number one goal. But two, to win the whole thing outright and get $1 croissants, £1 croissants. Excuse me.
So you want me to beat Brian Rose? That's what you want?
Oh yeah. That's like the first priority.
Yeah, I'd love to beat Brian. Electorally, not physically. I've seen it.
Yes.
He loves a bit of shadow boxing. Does Brian? I'm not looking for for any fisticuffs because I'll just shoot him with a laser if it came to that. But no, look, I wish Brian the very best for his campaign.
Sure.
I'll be honest with you. He's not going to win,
Yeah.
and he says he's going to win. He's not going to win, and he spent an awful lot of money. And it would be much nicer if he'd maybe made a lovely large donation to charity and said, you know what, I might as well stay at home. But that's my personal view. As for me winning the mayoral race, well, that's not going to happen either because, I'm coming in from a standing start. And the truth is, I've been isolating up here on Mars. I haven't been doing much pressing the flesh, walking the walk, because there's a pandemic going on, if you haven't heard, and I think it's important to respect that there are bigger things going on. But if I'd had my old name, and the whole world still knew me as my old name, who knows? But I think that you never know. A Count Binface score in somewhere of the region of 2% would be a huge landmark victory.
Yes.
For waste receptacle shaped politics in the UK. If I could get 5%, I would retain my £10,000 deposit and donate it to shelter to help combat homelessness. So, come on, Londoners, you know what to do. Help old Binface, try and beat some of the loonies, and maybe we can help a good cause as well. Lovely jubbly.
Lovely jubbly. Okay, that's a great into our interview here, actually. I really thank you for great answers. Your last two answers have been wonderful. All the rest of them have been good as well. Thank you for coming on and sharing your big ideas. Sometimes I think we always say you need to think outside the box. And in this case, we're really going outside the galaxy. And I think that's maybe the right place to start. So, ladies and gentlemen, this has been my official endorsement for Mayor of London. The man himself, he's full of it, Count Binface. Thank you. Appreciate you.
Lovely to be here. All the best, everyone. Look after yourselves. Stay safe. And see you soon.
I know what you mean. This ain't what it seemed. Nothing but a trick. Trying to sell me on a dream. But that was where you lost me. Wake up and smell the coffee.